And welcome into the news at 5 with Jamie Costello. I'm Kelly Swoop. Firefighters in Frederick County are mourning the death tonight of one of their own.
Sad. 70-year-old Mike Powers suffered a medical emergency and died in the line of duty at the scene of a head-on crash in Unionville. Happened on Tuesday yesterday. WMAR 2 News' Jeff Hager has been working this story and spoke with about the longtime volunteer and the legacy that he leaves behind. Jeff.
Well, Jamie, Mike Powers spent 50 years balancing his family with a full-time job in Montgomery County and his volunteer work as a firefighter in Frederick County. A head-on crash involving a Volkswagen and a tanker truck on Route 26 in Unionville had already cost a 22-year-old man his life when Mike Powers arrived on the scene in what would prove to be his final call.
He had parked the engine, got out, was making access for the ambulance to get on scene, and he was removing debris, had some type of medical emergency, went down. The fellow firefighters were going to right at his aid right away, and resuscitation efforts continued on the way to the hospital.
Hours later, his fellow members of the Libertytown Volunteer Fire Company would accompany his body to the chief medical examiner's office in Baltimore for an autopsy. By Wednesday morning, his fellow firefighters had adorned the front doors of the firehouse with Mike's helmet and black bunting, which is also draped across the front of the engine he was driving, and his locker, befitting of a man who served the county's fire service for more than 50 years.
He had taken some time off here recently because he was about to retire, but he was out for a couple of months and missed the fire service and family, so he came back. And for a 70-year-old, his commitment was 100%. The day of this incident, he had responded since 4:20 a.m. in the morning on 2 previous incidents prior to this. So again, it just goes to show the commitment that he had.
On this day, Emmitsburg firefighters would pull up to the Libertytown station to fill in for Mike's colleagues as they head back to Baltimore to pick up his body and to return it home.
And that's the least we can do for a gentleman that served this department for 50 years. Is, you know, it's our duty, and quite frankly, it's our pleasure to honor him in that regard.
Mike Powers' 2 daughters and their husbands also followed in his footsteps, choosing to serve as volunteers in Frederick County's fire and rescue. Now, this morning, Governor Larry Hogan directed that state flags be lowered to half staff in his memory.